because I am staining it with the India ink, I'm not going to worry about some of the staining. If the staining shows through the stain, then I'll maybe have to worry about it, and I've learned an important lesson. However, for the moment, I don't think that any of this staining like that, I don't think that's going to show through the stain. So I think we'll not worry about it, and we'll just see how it looks after I stain everything. And if we have a problem, well, we can always do the work to get rid of the stain then. Okay, preparing to do staining of the chair. Now I did 2 samples. This one is India ink, and this one is dark walnut stain. So I decided that I like the look of this one better, so we're going to stain the whole thing with India ink. Okay, staining with India ink is pretty straightforward. We've got our wood that has all been sanded. It's all been scraped. It should be pretty much ready to go. I gave it a wipe with a damp cloth yesterday. It's all nice and dry now. So it should be dry and clean, and the stain should go on pretty easy and straightforward. So we just take our India ink and put some on our tampon, or I don't know what you want to call it. I call it a tampon. Now, I'm not going to stain the glue surfaces, even though, because India ink is lamp black, at least this is, vegetable lamp black, it won't affect hide glue. But out of an abundance of making sure that I get good glue joints, I am going to try to avoid staining the glue surfaces. So we just rub the stain over the surface, and any disaster areas will really pop up, but they can be addressed afterwards. Then, once we have the whole surface wiped with stain, we wipe it off. And there we wind up with not a bad stain coat. I've got a couple areas here which I'll have to do with a little brush. The grain of the wood is quite deep and open. It's very old wood. I messed that area up a little bit, but I can probably sand that off if need be. Okay, keeping it going. More ink. More staining. Well, I hope you can see how well that brings out the grain. Sure hope that shows up. Man, that is really nice. Really nice. Let's do some end grain. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. I like to daub the end grain in more than rub it. And then daub it off with a clean bit of the cloth until we get it even. If it's really uneven and there are lots of the deep grain is opened up, you can just use a brush, and the brush, the little bristles will poke in there and help to get that stain down in. There's the end grain. It doesn't show up as well. I might have to sand that back a little. You can also just apply your stain directly to the wood and rub it around. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do all of these sticks, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, I raided the house and got myself a rag. It's the old kitchen towel, tea towel, whatever you want to call it. I just tore it into a strip and rolled it up. Now I can use it as a spreader of stain. You can use it like that, or the end, or whatever. So, anyway. Alright, here we have my assembly bench. Assembly table, whatever. So, I've got all the parts all stained now. Now I'm going to assemble it all. I'm going to use hide glue to stick it all together. Okay, we're going to start shellacking today. We have here a mixture of shellac, which is 50 grams of shellac to 200 grams of alcohol. This is my shellac applicator, the shellacolator. So we just get that wet with the shellac, saturate the inside. I just made this one. Alright, and then we just wipe it on. Just like that. Once the first coat is dry, you can see the sheen hasn't increased very much. But there's a good layer of shellac on there. We got about 8 or 9 more layers of shellac to go. So here goes. Okay, that's now 4 layers. My shellac applicator is no longer squishy with shellac. It's kind of dry. And I'm going to go over the whole piece, rubbing quite aggressively to make sure that I get an ultra fine layer on. And I'll do that to the entire piece, and you'll see the shine start to come up. And after every layer now, I will just be applying a thinner layer of shellac and letting the applicator get to this stage where it doesn't squish out every time. That will hopefully ensure that I get a very fine finish on the following layers of shellac. It's about 4 more to go. Okay, that's 4 layers done and dried. You can see there's still a fair amount of unevenness to the finish, but we have at least 4 more layers to go. But you can see already that the shine is really starting to come up. And I know you can't tell, but it is super smooth. You can see here where the dowel comes through, and I did the repair where they had put some nails in. I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit. It's showing through. So I'll work on that a bit before I do the next layer, and then we'll get started.